Hello, welcome to the Honest Heresy. I'm your host, Rob, and another exciting day in the Horus Heresy, and I'm hoping a video that you're really going to like. Let me know in the comments if you are excited as I am. So, Games Workshop today, and obviously the fantastic Horus Heresy team, dropped our new Inductii rules. Inductii? Inductee? You let me know what you think. The Inductii rules are meant to represent the rapid reinforcements that the Space Marines had to go through. They were no longer allowed to just pickle for a long time and get fully developed. You had fresh recruits given random new weapons and Legion-specific loadouts to really identify them as those Legion-specific Inductii. But they are just given a bunch of new weapon options. Each Legion, there are 18 kind of rules updates, allows you to take an Inductii squad. They generally have lower willpower and intelligence, so they're dummies, little horde marines, little thickies, just like me, little thickies on the front line that have just been sent out with a gun and nothing but a dream. So they're not necessarily fully formed legionaries. Legionaries have got, like I say, a better stat line in willpower and willpower and leadership. I think it's one of those two. We'll find out as we go through it. So better stats, so they're less likely to take statuses, which is fun. I gotta say, another absolutely hot drop straight off the back of the Demons one, which I really enjoyed as well. This is going to be very, very exciting because every single Space Marine Legion is about to get a new unit archetype for it to be able to use, which is very cool. The kit bashing potential is fantastic. I've already read ahead and kind of read the Salamander one. That's very exciting. It's very cool. I like the idea of being able to build Inductii squads in addition to everything else that I've got. They're either meant to be based off tactical marine, like your line tactical legionnaires, or they're meant to be despoilers, one of the two. And they're either going to have line one or they're going to have Vanguard. So this is just an amazing opportunity for more kit bashing, in my opinion, and also the a great opportunity to just take some new unit types and put them on the battlefield. So I'm really excited about that as well. I mean, I'm pumped. I was not expecting this, and this is very, very exciting. So let's dive straight in and have a look at all of the rules. Okay, so the Inductii squads have a special rule called the Inductii special rule. And what this means is when a unit that includes any models of this special rule is selected to fill a prime force organization slot, which is part of your list building, no corresponding prime advantage may be selected. So they are just not going to bring any tactical advantage to your army. They're just meat and fodder to be put in fill-up slots and be pushed into the front line. I think people are going to be really excited about this. Running Horde Marines is something I think everyone kind of wants to do. And secretly, or maybe not so secretly, infantry is just so good in this edition. Its ability to hold objectives and score you points is really the path to victory. So hopefully we're going to see some kind of anti-infantry in these squads. I think that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So that special rule, no prime slots, no prime advantages if they fill up a prime slot. Okay, so the first Inductii squad we're going to look at is probably the most boring one. We can see the Dark Angels Inductii squad arrives in at 90 points. And then you can take an additional 10 for 9 points each, taking you to only 180 points for the Inductii squad. So cheaper than you would get yourself some regular Legionnaires. Same stats as you normally would see. I think it's exactly the same stats as a regular Marine. So as I was saying, all the stats are the same, with the exception of willpower and intelligence being 1 point lower. And because you can't take a sergeant, your leadership also isn't higher as well. So you're line one, so you can score bonus points for this. And the only real thing that you get for a Dark Angels Inductii squad is the fact that you can have a Volkite Charger, a 2-shot, range 15, strength 5, AP 5 deflagrate weapon. Is just a cool looking weapon. I mean, look at it. It looks cool. And having a squad of 20 of these dudes just firing away is actually pretty cool. Really good if you're playing into Solar. Really good maybe if you're playing into Cults and Militia. Oh, sorry, Imperialist Militia. Maybe really good if you're playing into Demons as well. I think, actually really good playing into the right matchups, most matches are Marines versus Marines. I'm already thinking about putting a demon army together based on last week. I think I've got a plan, trying really hard not to buy Kabanda. So yeah, Volkite Charger for everybody. And then one Inductii in this unit may have a Vexella, and then up to 2 Inductii can have one item from the Legion equipment list selected for them. So like, yeah, like it's fun because you get one extra weapon and you can take a ton of them, and that's cool. But I gotta say, this isn't the most exciting one. There are more exciting ones. Don't worry, stick with me. Also, good point in pointing out, it is 40 points less than taking a 10-man tactical support squad with Volkite as well. So, yeah, it's a cheaper option, basically the same stats, and you get the cool gun. I'm also going to read out the lore now, I've decided. I should have done that on the last ones. The last ones was boring. This one's fun. Emperor's Children Inductii Squad, same points value, so either 90 points all the way up to 180 points. As the fruits of the chief apothecary Fabius's work spread throughout the Legion, more and more recruits were subjected to the experimentation by the Legion's apothecarian. Empowered by a potent cocktail of experimental combat stimulants and physical modifications, their tortured minds strove even more self-destructively towards a desire for perfection. So this is the Emperor's Children Inductii Squad. You, as standard, get a bolt, slit pistol, and a chainsword like you get with a Despoiler Squad. You get Vanguard 2, and Vanguard's kind of like question mark at the moment. And you get a special rule called Perfection Embodied. Obviously, same stat line. All the Inductis have the same stat line. Or not all of them actually have the same stat line, but this one has the same stat line as the Dark Angels. No, it doesn't. You get 2 attacks with this Inductii Squad. 2 attacks per guy. Let's go. Weapon skill 4. You obviously start out with a chainsword, but every model in the unit can exchange their chainsword for a Chernobyl Sabra. I think that's how that's said, for +5 points, which looks like that. It's just a cracking knife. That's what you get, a big cracking knife. Which is very, very cool. It gives you an initiative modifier of +1. That's what it does. Yeah, so initiative modifier is +1. And in addition, you get breaching 6+, and you get duelist edge. So breaching is pretty cool, especially when you could potentially have 40 attacks from this unit. I'm not mad at that. Every 4 models in the unit, 1 Inductii in this unit may have its chainsword exchanged for a heavy chainsword, very cool, at 5 points each, and a power weapon at 10 points each. So you can have 1 for every 4 models in the unit. So you can have quite a few of those. So 5 of those. And for every 4 models in the unit, 1 Inductii in this unit may have its bolt pistol exchanged for one of the Legion's pistols as well. And up to 2 Inductii in this unit may have 1 item from the Legion equipment list. But their special rule, Perfection Embodied, the Inductii of the Emperor's Children fought in a state of bliss that saw them fight on despite casualties. Only when they failed to completely annihilate their enemy was their resolve seen to waver, however. An additional dice is rolled when making a check to avoid tactical statuses for a unit containing any models, with a special rule discarding the worst result in the shooting phase and the best result in the combat phase. So you can just reduce the likelihood that they're going to take a tactical status, and that isn't bad at all, especially as they're particularly weak to it. Emperor's Children with a bunch of sabers is fun. That's a fun Despoiler Squad because against another Despoiler Squad, you're going to be getting +1 initiative. It's obviously going to cost you a lot more, but it's going to look very cool on the tabletop. Again, this is rule of cool, I think, in a lot of ways. But it does also give you another option in that Marine on Marine fight, which I think is fun. And then the option to take these other bigger weapons is also very cool. So yeah, I like that one. I think that one's pretty cool. It's worth noting as well that the Emperor's Children Inductii Squad can't take a Vexella. So that isn't standard across all these Inductii squads either. So you're not going to be able to take a Vexella there, which is bad news. But you do have the Perfection Embodied rule, so you should be avoiding those statuses. Before I go any further, just to point out, I was confusing, as it's late, I was confusing the difference between a Nuncio Vox and a Vexella. A Vexella's +1/2 combat res, and a Nuncio Vox. You can still take a Nuncio Vox on the Emperor's Children unit, so don't worry about me. Okay, our next unit is the Iron Warriors Inductii Squad. Okay, same points cost, and they do have a stat difference. They only have 1 attack in close combat, but they do have a cool of a mighty 8. So these are very cool dudes. Now they have line, which is great, +1 VP for holding an objective, but they also have expendable. So they're quite a good unit, maybe early for putting on an objective. Your opponent tries to bring a Vanguard unit out, and kill your unit, they're going to get 1 less Vanguard point because of expendable 1, but you're still going to get line. I think that's pretty cool. The equipment they're equipped with is a bolter and a bolt pistol. You can trade the bolt pistol for every model in the unit to have a shotgun, which the Astartes shotgun is 2 shots at strength 4, and they have stun 0. You know, still, that's a mighty amount of shotgun shells that you can fire. It would also look very, very cool. Yeah, they're kind of like himbos that use a stand-on objective. Oh, we forgot to read the law. Let's do that. Utterly indoctrinated into their unyielding masters' methods of waging war, the Inductii of the Iron Warriors were likened to the automata of the Cybernetica cohorts. Many observers compared them to statues, lurching into life to destroy their foe with roaring bolters before removing to unmoving silence. So some himbos with some shotguns. There's some cool kit bashes available straight off the bat. 1 Inductii can have a Vexella for 10 points. Up to 2 Inductii can have an equipment from the Legion equipment list. And any model of this unit that still has its bolter can also take a bayonet and a chain bayonet. I don't think I'd bother upgrading their weapon because they've only got that 1 attack. I don't think I'd bother, but I think I would take the shotgun. I don't think I'd take this unit for any other reason than having the shotgun. The shotgun's not like a super cool weapon, but line and expendable, you can do some really fun stuff where you, again, like you're trading some objectives. This one's okay. I think it's quite fun. Maybe you could like give them robot arms, attach a shotgun to it. I don't know. Something like that would be quite fun. Anyway, that's the Iron Warriors Inductii Squad. Our next unit is the White Scars Inductii Squad. So these are same points cost. These have got 2 attacks, so they're kind of like a despoiler squad because they have bolt pistols and chain swords. Their stats are all the same. They've got 2 attacks, like I said, and they are Vanguard 2, but also expendable 1, and they have a special rule called Proof of Valor. What this special rule states is if the enemy unit that's targeting this unit is weapon skill 5 only, if it's weapon skill 6, it doesn't matter, but if it's weapon skill 5, they only hit this unit on 4s. So if the opposing unit is weapon skill 5 and is trying to hit this unit, they're only going to hit them in combat on 4s. That's their special rule. So it's a very odd rule, but I guess it means that you use this as like a chaff unit. So I guess maybe you don't want to upgrade this unit like with any special weapons. Also, I'm noticing that the unit is actually 10 points more expensive. The first 10 is 100 points. Normally these units are like 90 points. So you spend a few extra points there. But you do have expendable. So I guess very much like we said, you just jump them on an objective or you try and like go use them as a screen. Maybe you can use them to fight. They get stabbed. Who knows? Okay, but what can they take as extra weapons? Well, every model in the unit can have a heavy chainsword, and that's going to put your initiative modifier down by 1, but your strength modifier is going to go up by 2. You're going to have AP 4, and you're going to have shred. So you can have, 40 attacks with heavy chainswords. It's going to cost you quite a lot of points, but that's a pretty cool thing that you can do. Yeah, very, very fun. Also, for every 4 models in this unit, you can have a power weapon or a Chinabral Sabra. And then for every 4 models in this unit, 1 Inductii may have a unit for a weapon from the Legion pistol list. 1 Inductii in this unit may have a Vexella, and up to 2 can have equipment from the Legion equipment list. So you've got a lot of options to kit bash this unit with a variety of different weapons that you want. And they fulfill a very interesting kind of like almost Vanguard is in the term Vanguard, like, a frontline unit that's going to get chopped up, which is why I probably wouldn't give it any bonus equipment. I just send it out there to be expendable and go have a fight. That's what I think I'd use it for. But also, why wouldn't you just take a normal despoiler squad? That's a great question as well. I also forgot to do the law. God damn it. Okay. Recruited during the years of the Horus Heresy, many Inductii of the White Scars were noticeably more pragmatic than their brethren, a generation of legionnaires raised under the shadow of death after receiving training from the Imperial Fists and Blood Angels alongside the recruitment of Master of their own Legion. These warriors were typically first deployed in Karash, Vanguard formations by the contingents they fought alongside before joining the Legion proper. Yeah, so they're just frontline mulchers. That's their job. Our next unit is actually fantastic. The Space Wolves Inductii Squad. That's 100 points, and every additional model is 9 points, taking you up to 20 models if you want. 2 attacks, fantastic. All of the same stats apart from that. And the lore, I didn't forget this time, the Inductii of the Space Wolves are conditioned to idealize warrior traditions on Fenris, each seeking to prove their skill with blade and shield. With little time for training or indoctrination, these warriors are physically augmented and then thrust into the crucible of battle, there to be forged into true legionnaires. Okay, so they start with the bolt pistol and chainsword, and they got Vanguard too. But don't worry, you can trade your chainswords for axes for free. Absolutely fantastic. So you can do those with chain axes for free, and then you can change your bolt pistol for a combat shield, which is going to give you a 5-up invuln in combat. The combat shield is going to cost you 2 points a model, though. But I really do not think a chain axe combat shield unit with 2 attacks each of running around is bad at all. I think that's a great choice. Any Inductii in this unit may have its chainsword, as I said that already. And for every 4 models, you can have a heavy chainsword, a power weapon, or a Chinabra Sabra. And then for every 4 models in this unit, 1 Inductii in this unit may have its bolt pistol exchanged for a Legion pistol. You can have a Vexella, and also up to 2 Inductii could take equipment for the Legion list. But their special rule, Headstrong. Models with this special rule may make a charge in the same turn they rushed, but if you fail the charge, you become stunned and pinned. But rush and charge, amazing. Rush and charge, chain axe, combat shield wielding Space Wolves. If I was a Space Wolf player, I'd be absolutely delighted right now. That's fantastic. Okay, another banger. We have the Imperial Fist Inductii Squad. 90 points only for 10 of these, 9 points each extra. They don't have any bonuses to their stats. They've got line 1, and they have a bolter and a bolt pistol. But they do have the special rule, supporting fire, which is crazy. So the supporting fire special rule, in the controlling player's shooting phase, shooting attacks made by models with this special rule, which are part of a unit that remains stationary, and the controlling player's previous movement phase, gain the pinning 0 special rule. So multiple shots with pinning 0 is great with your bolters. I think that's good. For every 10 models in the unit, 1 model can have a heavy bolter or an auto cannon, 10 points and 15 points each. If you want to throw some more pinning in there, 1 Inductii in this unit can have a Vexella. Up to 2 Inductii can have equipment from the Legion list, and any model in the unit may have either a bayonet or a chain bayonet. So I think the fact that you can just auto get pinning, keep this unit as cheap as possible, and just keep throwing pinning shots out at your opponent is fantastic. Yeah, so good. Like these are also excellent choice, and obviously play inherently in with how Imperial Fist want to play. It's also worth noting, obviously, for Imperial Fist, they get +1 to hit with bolt and auto weapons as well, or with like 5 or more shots. So like, you know, that's also going to be really good for a very cheap unit. Our next unit is the Night Lords Inductii Squad. Come on, Rob. 100 points for 10, 9 points each after. And the lore, I forgot the Imperial Fist one. I assume it was just standing on a wall somewhere. The lore for the Night Lords is the scattered warbands of the Night Lords Legion reaved throughout the Imperium, each warlord recruiting the most vicious killers they could find and demanding their obedience. Such Inductii were undoubtedly skilled killers, though their psychological makeup would have horrified the recruitment masters of more disciplined legions. So for war gear, they have bolt pistols and they have killer's blades. We'll talk about those in a moment. And they've also got Vanguard 2, and they have a special rule called Unscrupulous Murderers, which we'll also talk about in a second. For every 4 models in this unit, they can exchange their bolt pistol for one of the Legion pistols. You can have a Vexella for 10 points, and up to 2 can have 2 Inductii can have equipment from the Legion equipment list. Okay, let's talk about the Killer's Blades, shall we? Because they've got 2 attacks each, so we've got a lot of attacks potentially. They have got the same initiative, but they're initiative 1 actually, and then their strength modifier is 0. Their AP nothing, their damage 1, but they have breaching 6+, and they have precision 6+. Okay, so it's worth noting that precision 6+ means any 6s to hit, you're going to be able to assign the damage to the enemy unit. And this has been pointed out to me in the chat. This is quite a funny weapon for just a random like Inductii to have. You're like, that's such a great weapon, but regular Astartes don't have weapons like that. I'm also being pointed out that the initiative modifier is not a 1, it's an I. So their initiative is modifier is the same as their regular initiative. I'm so sorry. You're right, but you are correct. So you're going to be striking your initiative, so your normal initiative, and you've got precision on your killer blades. You've also got the rule unscrupulous murderers. Okay, so if you've won the combat, then you can use this ability, which for every model that's in this unit, you can the control player rolls a single dice for every model in this unit, every result of a 6, and you get to do a precision hit again into the unit that's either holding or disengaging or running away. These wounds have an AP of dash, and they have a damage of 1. So we're just pointing out the difference between the I and the 1 on this sheet. They look incredibly different. You're so right. So this is a cool unit, right? It's a super cool unit. They've got a really uniquely weird, cool weapon, which is going to worry a lot of people. They're pretty cheap, so you can throw a couple of squads at like an enemy unit, trying to kill like one of their. I mean, you've got no AP, but I mean, they do have breaching. So you've got some opportunities to maybe kill a character and trade up with this unit, and I think that's quite a fun unit to take. Also, you can really kit bash these guys to be like a murderous group of like knife wielding psychos, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if you're a Night Lord person, you're gonna really enjoy that idea. If you're not a Night Lord person, you're not gonna care. So great unit, I think. Our next one is also awesome. This is the Blood Angels Inductii Squad. 100 points for the first 10, 9 points for each model after. Many Inductii of the Blood Angels saw none of the beauty in battle that their Legion brothers spoke of, knowing only the horror of galactic civil war, shorn of the intensive mental conditioning that curbed the more animalistic aspects imbued by their gene seed. These warriors were often the dark mirror to their angelic brethren. So 2 attacks each, Vanguard 2. They've got all the same stats. They've got bolt, pistol, and chainsword, and they have a special rule called Eaters of the Dead, which we'll talk about in a moment. Okay, so for equipment, any models in this unit may have its chainsword and bolt pistol exchanged for 1 heavy chain axe. So 20 lunatics with heavy chain axes if you want to, or take a few heavy chain axes and the others are ablative wounds. For every 4 models in this unit, you can have a heavy chainsword, a power weapon, and a Chernobyl Sabra. And then for every 4 models, you can take a pistol, and 1 Inductii in this unit may have a Vexella, and up to 2 Inductii can take equipment from the Equipment Legion list. So what makes these special? Well, their special rule is Eaters of the Dead. What happens is, in step 4 of the resolution subphase of combat, a player that has won combat may select the following aftermath option for any units in that combat entirely composed of models with this special rule. Any unit that only has some can do a cool check and pass it. They don't have to do it. So what happens? It's the thirst. A leadership check must immediately be made for each enemy unit that is not part of the combat, which has any models within 8 inches of one or more models with this unit. If the leadership check is failed, then all models in that unit gain the routed status. This aftermath option is resolved after all aftermath options from the given combat have been completed. That's brilliant. That's so fun. They literally eat the dead. They go in, they chop some like hands off, they start eating them, and then like other units may route around them, which genuinely it's not going to happen all the time or even most of the time, but it's an incredibly thematic rule. Some of these have not been as good as this. This one is very strong. Very, very strong. It's one of my favorites so far. I think this is very cool. I also love the idea of just a bunch of Blood Angels with heavy chain axes. I think that looks sweet as hell. Kind of doing them more feral or animalistic is also a super cool idea. You could do some really good kit bashing here. This is great. Our next unit are the Iron Hands Inductii Squad, which is 10 models at 90 points each, and then every 10 models after is 9 points. The lore: the use of cybernetic enhancements for the Iron Hands ensured that the flow of new recruits was kept high, even when biological resources were running short, or when implementation of other organs had failed. Following the death of Ferrus Manus and the losses of Istvan, these warriors would also come to see the forbidden technology employed by the Legion as commonplace, their desire to punish the traitors overriding any concerns about their provenance. Okay, so This is just a regular line unit, so you've only got one attack in combat. They've got bolter and bolt pistol, but they do have a special rule called Forbidden Augmentation. The thing to shout out about this is one inducti in this unit may have Phosphex bombs selected for it for 10 points. 10 points. And then one inductor unit may have a Vexella. Up to 2 can have equipment from the Legion equipment list. And then if you've got bolters, you can have bayonets and chain bayonets. So let's talk about what a Phosphex bomb is, shall we? So a Phosphex bomb is a range 6 grenade, basically. There's one shot, strength 5, AP 3 with a 3-inch blast template, but it's also poison 3 and panic 3. Now, I'm not super excited about the idea of a bunch of 10-man squads with Phosphex bombs just dropping panic 3 shots around at my army. That seems crazy good. And I'd already be trying to figure out how to do this if I was playing as Iron Hands. So good. But they also have a special rule called Forbidden Augmentation, which effectively a unit containing only models of special rule is considered to contain one or more models with a Medic X special rule. So it's like putting an apothecary in the unit. And then because you've considered to have that special rule, you can make the advanced reaction Medic if the opponent is shooting at you, and you're going to be able to get a 5-up save, which is like a tertiary save after armor saves and damage prevention saves. So you're not going to use that as much, but basically for 100 points, you can just run around with little squads with Phosphex bombs, dropping them on your opponent with Panic 3, and that feels crazy. Like, genuinely, I can see this happening a lot, and people wanting to take a ton of these, and that, yeah, the War Crime Squad, and not cool. Not cool at all. World Eaters Inductii Squad is our next unit, 100 points for 10, and then each additional one is 9 points. This is a Despoil squad. They got 2 attacks each, and they got Vanguard 3, but they've also got Heedless, so they're never going to be able to hold an objective. They also have Impact Toughness, so on the charge, they're going to go up to Toughness 5, which is good because they have a special rule called Ravening Madmen, which is in the Liber Hereticus, and that special rule says that if their opponent is ever trying to hit them in close combat, this unit counts as being weapon skill 3. So they're easier to hit, but they are harder to wound. And then they've got bolt pistols, chain swords. You get to exchange every weapon for a chain axe, or sorry, a heavy chain axe if you want to. So you can have 20 heavy chain axes. Then every 4 models, you got heavy chain sword, power weapon, Chinabral Sabra. And then for every 4 models, you can take a pistol. 1 can have a Vexella, and up to 2 can take equipment from the Legion list. This one's got me a little puzzled, to be honest. Oh, I forgot to read the law. The Inductii of the World Eaters live short and typically brutal lives, thrown into battles with little regard for their preservation or forces, or minimizing attrition. Implanted with the butcher's nails at young age, their tortured minds inhabited vat-grown bodies, resulting in even more unstable, but undoubtedly ferocious killers, devoid of any sense of pain, fear, or defeat. However, excitingly, they do have another ability, which I was just leading you on about. So what happens is you get the Butcher Surgeon Prime advantage. If an apothecary unit, which only includes models with a World Eaters trait, is selected to fill a Prime Force organization slot, then you get the following Prime advantage selected, or you can choose it. And that is the Butcher Surgeon. All models in an apothecary unit selected to fill a Prime Force organization slot with this Prime advantage gain the Ravening Madmen special rule, which is where you weapon skill 3 if your opponent hits you, and the Exhaustion of Butchery special rule. And the Exhortation of Butchery special rule is at the charge of at the start of the charge subphase of their battle turn, the controlling player of a unit which contains any models with this special rule may elect for that unit to become Lost to the Nails. Let's look at Lost to the Nails, shall we? Lost to the Nails, I'm at book level of dealing with this. When a unit becomes lost to the nails, all tactical statuses are removed. In addition, while a unit, which is great, so now you're not initiative 1 in combat, that's great. Models in that unit may add +1 inch to the movement they make in the setup move, good for charging. Models in that unit were considered to have leadership, cool, and willpower characteristic of 10, unless it would normally be higher, great. If at the start of the controlling player's charge subphase, the unit is within 12 inches of any enemy models, that unit must make a charge move. If if more than one of the enemy units within 12 inches, the controlling player of this unit must then select the closest enemy unit to target, and you modify the attack characteristic of models in this unit by 1. So they're going to have 3 attacks. So you can have 60 attacks from this group of lunatics if you also take a apothecary and you take the prime upgrade as well. So you have just got a blender unit of either chainsword wielded dudes or heavy chain axe wielding dudes and everything in between. You do also have to cross-reference 7 different rules to figure that out, which is great, because why else would you? I mean, you're into the Horus Heresy. You're excited about that for sure. So there you go. Butcher Surgeon. Very cool. The next unit is the Ultramarine Inductii Squad. So it's 90 points for 10 models, and every additional... so you can't go above 10, and then 1 Inductii in this unit may be replaced with an Evocardus Intendant for 15 points. So you can't have a 20-person squad here. Throughout the Horus Heresy, Reboot Gwilman made numerous... made numerous tactical adjustments to his Legion, adapting it subtly for more effective prosecution of that conflict. Newly inducted warriors would be trained to fight in a more flexible formations suited to the unpredictable engagements that would come to typify the Horus Heresy. Their belief in their cause unshakable. So you got bolters, bolt pistols, line 1. You got a special rule called Certainty and Resolve. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you also have a sergeant who's ballistic skill 5, which is spicy, and you are leadership and cool 8, and willpower and intelligence 7. So you've got much less likely to take statuses, which is good, and you can equip this sergeant pretty nicely. So bolter and bolt pistol. Let's take a look at the special rule very quickly, Certainty and Resolve. What it says is, if you ever end up at your board edge when you're making a fallback move, you automatically effectively rally, and you lose the routed tactical status, and you gained the suppressed tactical status. Additionally, every time you're checking to see if you can remove routed from your unit, you can roll 3d6 and you can remove the highest. So you are very unlikely to have any of these dudes run off the board. You're very unlikely also to be routed permanently. So I think that's pretty fun. And then up to 2 Inductii in this unit may have their bolter exchange for 1 item from the Legion special weapons list. So now you've got a bunch of options when it comes to war gear. You can have a Vexella. You can have 2 Inductii you can choose from the Legion equipment list. If you've all got bolters, you can have bayonet and chain bayonet. And then the Evocardus Intendant in this unit may have 1 bolter and or bolt pistol exchange for 1 item, each from the Legion Sergeant melee weapons list. And Evocardus Intendants in this unit may also have a bolt pistol exchange for 1 item from the Legion pistol list or from the combi weapon list. And then the Evocardus Intendant may have a melter bomb selected for 10 points. So you can build a pretty great gun platform unit. Take multiples of these, take a bunch of different special weapons. They're pretty cheap, and they are very unlikely to constantly be routed, which is very, very good because you can keep scoring with line 1. Obviously, that's not as good as line 2, which you get from a regular Legionnaire, but yeah, quite nice. Quite nice for this unit. It's quite interesting. There'll be some really fun kit bashing available here, especially if you're doing multiple Evocardus attendants. Our next unit are Death Guard Inductii Squads. So this unit is 10 models for 90 points, and you can take an additional 10 at 9 points each. The Inductii of the Death Guard spent much of their training separated from the bulk of the Legion. Sent forth from smaller holdings and from Barbarous itself, to fortify, endure, and, if possible, expand their numbers, these warriors spread through the galaxy like a pestilence. Many foes were destroyed upon stumbling across these hidden garrisons, unaware of the threat before it consumed them. So they got bolters and bolt pistols, they got line 1, and they have Barbarian Resilience and Fury of the Legion, and they obviously have the Inductii special rule. So, for every 5 models in this unit, 1 Inductii in this unit may exchange it for a Flamer, an Alchem Flamer, or a Rotor Cannon. And that's 1 in every 5. So you're potentially putting 4 rotor cannons down, 4 Alchem flamers down out of this unit. That's pretty great. You can have a Vexella. You can also take 2, can have equipment from the equipment list. And if you do take bolters, you can have bayonet and chain bayonet. And then you have the special rule Barbarian Resilience, where if you suffer more than 25% casualties in the shooting phase, you'll never gain the routed tactical status for doing so. So, I mean, I don't know what's not to love about this. They're cheap, they're solid, they do a lot of output, they do specialized output if you want to. Even if you just want to bring 1 flamer or 1 Alchem flamer for potentially trying to drop some panic on your opponent, that feels super stonks. Yeah, everything about these is great, apart from obviously they're going to take a bunch of statuses, or they're easier to status than they normally would be, but it's a great unit, super cool, and obviously feels incredibly Death Guardy. Our next unit is the 1,000 Suns Inductii Squad, which 10 models for 90 points, or you get 10 additional, well, no, and you get 10 additional models at 9 points each. In the aftermath of the destruction of Prospero, the 1,000 Suns were forced to be less discerning in their recruitment, experimenting with forbidden bioalchemy and psychic indoctrination techniques in an attempt to rapidly rebuild their scattered legion. The resulting Inductii were undoubtedly potent warriors and sorcerers, but exhibited a greater susceptibility to the flesh change. So this is a bolter unit with line 1, and they have the Inductii special rule, but they also have unattuned practitioners, and because they're 1,000 Suns, they're psychers, and they have the unattuned tag. So 1 in every 4 models, if you want, can change to have a Volkite Caliver, which is pretty nice. And then 1 Inductii in this unit can have a Vexella. You can have 2 of them, can have equipment, and if you do take bolters, you can have bayonet and chain bayonet. Now, the unattuned practitioner special rule says quite a lot of stuff, but it basically means that Inductii squads can use the etheric guidance psychic power, and if you manifest that psychic power, which is just obviously a willpower check, then any weapons that don't have the blast special rule gain breaching. So you can just have a lot of shots with breaching 6+, which is going to be AP2, and honestly, that's pretty nice. Yeah, so they also have +1 willpower, obviously on this squad as well, because they are psychers. Thanks, Pershal. Because they're psychers. So yeah, I mean, you can just have a ton of dudes with potentially like rending. So you're going to be AP2 shots, and like this could be really scary. That could be really, really good. Our next unit are the Sons of Horus Inductii Squad. You get 10 models for 100 points, and every additional model is 9 points. So one of the expensive ones. The Sons of Horus were reasonably indiscriminate in their recruiting practices, operating as they did at the forefront of the Civil War. The most successful Inductii, however, were taken from worlds whose gang traditions mirrored those of Chthonia, ensuring the new legionnaires already understood the culture of strength and the requirement to prove their worth in the eyes of their superior. So obviously they've got 2 attacks each. This is a Vanguard unit. They've got bolt pistol, and they've got chain swords. You can change the chain swords for chain axes for free. Now, don't forget that's going to be -1 to your initiative, but it is going to be +1 to your strength, which is pretty good because this unit has the Creed of Brutality special rule. And the Creed of Brutality special rule says that if a unit containing any module of this special rule succeeds a leadership check in the start phase, they gain impact strength, so +1 strength of the charge, until the end of the battle. So if we combo our chain axes and our Creed of Brutality, then we're going to be strength 6 on the charge with 2 attacks each. Feels pretty good in my mind. Or even just strength 5 with chain swords if you wanted to go that route as well. Also, if you want, for every 4 models, you can have a heavy chainsword, power weapon, and a Chanabra Sabra. And then for every 4 models in the unit, 1 Inductii in this unit, but if it's bolt pistol exchange for a Legion pistol list, you can have a Vexella, and obviously you can take 2 of them can go from the equipment list. So, like, I feel like these are okay. Like, you're either, like, hitting another unit, like another Marine unit, and wounding them on 3s, or you're letting them hit you first, but you're going to be wounding them on 2s, or you know, at strength 6, you're starting to get into that situation where you're starting to threaten slightly larger things, which I think is fun. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Our next unit is the Word Bearers Inductii Squad. 100 points for the first 10 and then 9 points for each one after. As the Civil War progressed, the Word Bearers' mastery of profane lore became a core part of their strategies, unleashing the power of the Imperium upon the unsuspecting foes. Marked with diabolical runes and brands, their Inductii were routinely exposed to the energies of the warp, hardening their souls and preparing their bodies for the eventual binding of malevolent warp energies. So the stats are all the same. This is obviously like a spoiler style type unit. They've got 2 attacks each with a bolt pistol and a chainsword, and they've got Vanguard 2. They have the special rule Empty Vessels. Every model in the unit can exchange its chainsword for a heavy chainsword for 5 points each, so you can have a crazy unit. For every 4 models, you can have a power weapon and Chidabra Sabra. Every 4 models, you can take a special bolt pistol. You can have a Vexella, and up to 2 can have equipment from the list. The special rule that you have, Empty Vessels, is incredibly narrative. It's pretty fun. A unit containing any models with this special rule gains the Malefic subtype and Feel No Pain 6+, so you get a demon inside you. Special rule, once it scores victory points due to the Vanguard X special rule, after suffering D3 wounds. So, you've got Vanguard 2. This unit goes out, does its Vanguard in, and it's going to get Malefic subtype, so it's not going to have to worry about getting statuses, and also you're going to get a 6+ Feel No Pain. So this one feels very thematic, very awesome, very cool. I mean, if you're the hobbyist that's going to like replace individual models, I don't know, he's got a demon in him now, watch out. That's quite fun. Maybe swap the heads out. Or maybe it's like a Lego thing, you just swap the head around and it's like Marine, Demon Marine. But that's cool. That's the very thematic rule. You get a bunch of ways to kit bash these guys. It's very fun. The next unit is the Salamanders Inductii Squad, and honestly, I feel like I've won the lottery. 100 points for the first 10. You can take an additional 10 for 9 points each, and you can have a sergeant like the Ultramarines, but you can have a sergeant and also 20 dudes. Following the events of Istvan V, a scattered remnants of the Salamanders took to recruiting for worlds liberated from the traitor oppression. These Inductii were often granted war gear taken from slain warriors of the Legion, accepting both the honor this bestowed and the expectation it brought. Banded together under the Legion veterans, these new recruits fought even harder to earn their place. So obviously these guys are great because they've got higher stats straight off the bat. They've got Vanguard 2, which is also great as well. And they've got a special rule called War Gear of the Heroes, where models with this special rule, which inflict any unsafe wounds, confer a bonus to combat res. So you get +1 combat res when you've been in combat with a unit. So that's pretty nice as well, because obviously you got 2 attacks each. But that's not where it ends, because you've got so much equipment you can take. Any mod of this unit may have its chainsword and bolt pistol exchanged for a heavy chainsword for 5 points a model. That's pretty expensive, but it's also very cool. Then for every 5 models in this unit, 1 Inductii in this unit may have its chainsword exchanged for 1 item from the Legion Sergeant melee weapon list. So you can effectively have 4 melee style sergeants in a unit of 20, so you can kind of like cheap out on the chainswords. You don't have to upgrade for heavy chainswords. You could just cheap out and have 4 models with like power fists or something, which is very fun, or lightning claws or whatever you want. For every 10 models in this unit, 1 Inductii in this unit may have its chainsword exchanged for a flamer. Great. Melter gun, also great. Disintegrator blaster, kind of like okay. It's probably the worst of all the disintegrator weapons. And then 1 Inductii in this unit may have 1 Vexilla selected for it for 10 points. You can obviously have 2 of them with Legion equipment list. The Inductii Master may have its chainsword or bolt pistol exchange for a melee weapon. The Inductii Master in this unit may have its bolt pistol exchange for 1 item for the Legion pistol list. The Inductii Master in this unit may have its pistol exchange for 1 pair of lightning claws, and the Inductii Master in this unit may have its melter bombs as well. So you've basically got 5 sergeants kind of in this unit that you're going to be able to use, which I think is cool. So you can have a very, very fun unit, or you can even just bring a bit of flaming or melter gunning along as well. Obviously it's going to cost you some points, but a ton of these feels very fun. I feel like it's a kit basher's dream, seeing as I've just built my disintegrator vet squad. I just built those, and I'm simultaneously building a flamer squad, and now I'm going to simultaneously build another squad for these. I think this is really, really fun. So yeah, actually fantastic. I feel like I won the lottery this time around. Our next unit is the Raven Guard Inductii Squad. This is 90 points for the first 10, 9 points for each after. The history of the Raven Guard's recruitment in the wake of Istvan 5 is shrouded in mystery, but it's clear that the Legion recruited from many worlds left in the wake of the Lion's Crusade of Vengeance, taking the downtrodden, offering them a chance to strike back at their previous oppressors. The Raven Guard molded a new generation of warriors in the image of those they had lost. So this is a bolter bolt pistol unit with line and unchained conviction. You are going to be able to have, for every 10 models in this unit, one inductite in this unit may have its bolter exchanged for one nemesis bolter for 5 points per model. I'm pretty certain that the nemesis bolter is also going to give you precision. So you've got the opportunity to have a precision unit, a precision weapon that also does pinning as well. For 1 in every 10. So that's pretty nice. It's a cheap way of getting a bunch of that in there. Then you can have a Vexilla, obviously. 2 can take stuff from the equipment list. And if they've all got bolters, you can have bayonet, chain bayonet. They've also got a special rule, Unchained Conviction. Models with this special rule, which would gain the pinned tactical status, instead make an immediate fallback move. I actually quite like that. I actually think that's actually better than it sounds. The ability to get shot at and then just move away. You can even trick your opponent a little bit. They try to hit you with a pinned. Maybe you move, you make a fallback, you just move out of the way. That's actually quite nice. I think that's really, really fun. And can really like mess up your opponent's game plans, especially if they ended up, if you were just touching an objective, they'd move their Vanguard unit up, they shoot you, fall back. Now they're not going to get the Vanguard bonus points. That's pretty clever. I like that. And also just a ton of Nemesis bolters. That's scary. I think that's really good. The last one, maybe the funniest one, the Alpha Legion Inductii Squad. Starts out as 90 points for 10, and each additional one is 9 points. A thorough examination of the 20th Legion's activity throughout the Horus Heresy has led to some speculate that Alpha Legion has been performing mass induction of recruits since their very inception, using what other legions will call inductii as the mainstay of their legion. Utilizing the holding positions while their more experienced brethren encircled the enemy. These warriors were employed in less clandestine roles than was typical of the 20th Legion's operations. So this is, your regular Legionnaire squad. You can have 20 of them with bolters and bolt pistols. They've got line 1, and they have the treacherous lure special rule, which feels over the top. The treacherous lure special rule states a unit entirely composed of models with this special rule cannot be targeted by shooting attacks during the first battle turn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For every 5 models in this unit, you can have 1 item from the Legion combi weapon list, which is pretty fun. I do actually quite like the combi disintegrator. I think that's a fun little one. You can have a Vexilla. 2 can have stuff from the equipment list, and you can have a chain bayonet, add bayonets on your bolters. So that is everything from that's all of the different squads gone through. I think there's some standout ones there. I mean, personally, obviously, I think the Salamanders one is standout. I also think the Space Wolves one was pretty standout. The Alpha Legion one that we just looked at was pretty good. The Death Guard one I thought was pretty good. I really liked the Night Lords one. I thought that was pretty thematic. The Raven Guard one was pretty thematic. I didn't like the Iron Hands, Iron Warriors, I can't remember, the ones that are able to take phosphate bombs, mainly because my friend Rebecca plays them, and I'm going to get phosphate bombed a lot, and I hate that because it's Panic 3. I got to say, it's a real testament to the design language of the Horus Heresy that you are able to take one squad and make it do so many different things. I think that that's very cool. I think that they're thematic, they're fun. This is free. Again, I'm going to bring this up again. It's just a free PDF. Like, if you're a Horus Heresy fan and you're somehow annoyed about the support you get for your game system, I probably think you're mental, being heavily involved in 2 other game systems, specifically AOS and the Old World. But yeah, these are a little bit weaker on the mental stats, obviously, than you get from your regular Legionnaires. But the kit bashing and also just the squad building potential, I'm currently building my Salamanders like Legions or my squads, and I'm building a bunch of like Mark II dudes, and I'm just really enjoying the process. Like, it's fun sticking all the bits on. It's fun like building these squads, and now I'm going to go and start designing squads for my Inductii squads, which I think is also fun. So yeah, also these guys can't take prime advantages, so there's also a weak point there, but that's only if you fill a prime advantage slot. Just don't be dumb, don't do that. So yeah, like this is great. Like basically an additional unit for free for every army, you know, a couple of months after launch, I feel is pretty exciting. And again, it's, you know, I'm sure many of you are going to be kit bashing stuff, building stuff. Like if you want to post some pictures and like tag me wherever you can, that would be cool. But I've really enjoyed this. I think it's been fun. And it's just maybe just before I started doing this show, I was literally building Marines. Started this show, and now all I want to do is go back and build other Marines. So they've done their job in making me excited. I don't know if I've done my job in making you excited, but I hope you've enjoyed the video and it's been somewhat informative. I think we could have really got into the nitty-gritty of these units, but I don't think it's really necessary, to be fair. Ultimately, they don't have line 2, so they're not as good as the other guys. That's the real weakness, because the missions are not very good, which is the actual problem in the Horus Heresy, if anyone wants to actually bitch about anything, which you shouldn't. I hope you've enjoyed my video. You're the best. Thanks for watching, and I'll make loads more Heresy videos soon, and I hope you like them. I'll see you soon. Bye.